Steve Wilson with Nefesh Energy. Let's talk about pain management. It's such an interesting topic, and how you go about managing your pains, be it physical, which we all know about arthritis and diabetes, cardiovascular issues, the drugs that we take. I would ask you this one question. If you remove the drugs, would the pain go away? Then there's the emotional pain. That's the one that probably drives all of our eating habits. That emotional issue of anger and anxiety and loneliness. All of these things cause us to do something, from alcohol to street drugs to pharmaceutical drugs. And again, my question is, if you quit the drugs, would that pain, would that emotional issue go away? Then there's always this spiritual side. And this is the one that we have forced out of our life, but we have supplemented it with some form of spirituality. And that's the huge issue that maybe we ought to discuss at a later date. And then the financial issue. Now, I believe of all of the issues, that maybe that curiosity of what's going to take place, what's tuition going to look like for my children, how am I going to retire, all of those things weighs heavily on our body. So if we decide that energy is at the core of the solutions, and that energy is going to be found in the foods that we eat, whether they're processed or whether they're real foods, and if they're the right foods, the energy that's derived from these foods will determine your health. Once we believe that, the journey really begins. And I must tell you from personal account, and after my 78 years on the planet, and looking at what I did at first, to find out what the evidence would be if I changed to the mindset of energy that I knew to be true, that I avoided because I wanted to be accepted by a group of people and to be part of the crowd. It caused me great issues. So with that said, let's say we make the wrong decisions. And right now, as we sit on this planet, we have 50% of us going to wind up with a cardiovascular issue or diabetes. It is rampant in our nation. And of course, then there's always dementia, and which leads to Alzheimer's disease, brain disease, liver conditions, cardiovascular issues. And that is so present is the obesity that sits in our culture. It does not take a study to take a look at the campuses, our workforce. Everyone is considerably, by and large, overweight. And what is the cause of that? Our liver is absolutely plugged up with fats and the toxins that we put into it to get us to go. And once we understand this, and we look at my favorite place in the background, is a place up on Liberty Cap that I go to talk about the skin, which is going to become very important as we get through this conversation, and the arteries in my bucket. Oh, I love that bucket. If you get up there, it's just full of rocks and glass and things of that nature, and it looks much like many people's liver. In fact, the language today is that almost 50% of our teenage boys have non-alcohol fatty liver disease. That's really something to look forward to, is a problem like that. And here we have Harvard saying that 85 to 95% of all of these diseases could be eradicated with a change of diet. Which diet? What is the best plan? And that leads us to the most important question, is if you're going to change, is it that you eat for performance today, and you need to be honest with yourself, or do you eat for comfort? And that comfort food, you will find it pretty much in the world of sugar, carbohydrates, and things of that nature that metabolize and give you that good feeling hormone. But I would want you to know that the end result of that, you're going to be overweight, you're going to be logged down with all of the things that take place. And as I talk to the dentist, the periodontist, they're saying that 100% of all diseases begin in the mouth. And if you look at the periodontal issues and what people are left with and the price that is paid for root canals, for all kinds of implants. An implant today is somewhere in the neighborhood of $3,000 each. You know, that's a sizable chunk of change. So we need to look at this and say, what can I do to alter that?